Ronnie Radke, misunderstood genius?
I feel like I'm a comedian, man. People need to just look at me as a comedian and stop taking me so serious. I'm not a serious person, dude.
Or the biggest scumbag in music?
What is that? You sound naughty, mother! I will fight you.
The answer to that question will depend on who you ask. Many will defend this controversial figure to the end of time, but others, including huge numbers of Falling in Reverse fans, have seen the light. And it's not hard to understand why when you take a look at the dark history of this troubled talent. From lawsuits to accusations of serious abuse, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Because believe it or not, Ronnie Radke's deep history of controversy stretches back to before he even created Falling in Reverse, and it begins in the most sinister way possible: murder. Way back in 2006, a physical altercation involving Radke resulted in the death of a man named Michael Cook following a gunshot wound. Although the trigger hadn't been pulled by the frontman himself, his desire for violence in setting up a fight with someone named Marcel Colquitt and their respective crews had inadvertently led to someone's death. Although Ronnie wasn't directly responsible for the killing, he was far from innocent and pled guilty to battery with substantial bodily harm during the incident, and carrying an illegal weapon with him in the state of Nevada, brass knuckles. Due to the fact that this was far from his first brush with the law, having been on their radar for a long time due to a string of narcotics offences, he was sentenced to 5 years probation and a nearly $100,000 fine. It wasn't long before he failed to meet the terms of this probation, meaning a custodial sentence was guaranteed. He spent 18 months inside High Desert State Prison in 2008, immediately putting his life on hold, leading to him being kicked out of his then current band, Escape the Fate. And it was this very harrowing incident that ultimately led to Ronnie Radke's latest controversy 16 years later in 2024. Because even the most die-hard fans of Falling in Reverse feel like they've been let down for the last time. An entire UK tour cancelled due to Ronnie's very questionable past. The band alleges that he was denied entry into the country due to his previous prison sentence. But this left many people asking, how would he not know this already? A quick search would have told any one of these simple rules, causing fans to question the amount of research done by the band's management before arranging the tour and labelling them as incompetent. Maybe they could be forgiven if this was the first time it had happened, but cancelling shows seems to be a common theme with Radke and his fellow bandmates. Mere weeks before an entire tour was axed, a number of shows in Europe were also given the chop, allegedly due to production issues, but amazingly, that was just the beginning of this incident. While streaming on Kick, Radke was questioned by fans on the reasons for cancelling shows, and let's just say it did not go well. On top of people being shocked that a former addict would be promoting gambling on stream, they got a response that they definitely weren't expecting.
We didn't cancel the show. Shut the fuck up, Wednesday. You can fucking get the fuck out of my stream. You guys are just fucking fans. You don't understand. Ban this bitch. I will. I'll just ban her.
Berated, insulted and banned. This was the result for a number of genuine Falling in Reverse fans merely looking for answers. Not Ronnie's finest moment, but compared to his behaviour a decade earlier, this was pretty tame. Even before Falling in Reverse reached the peak of their popularity, many would say that Radke's on-stage behaviour had already fallen off a cliff. His intense temper was there for all to see, even getting into verbal sparring matches with people in the crowd.
These people right now are ruining your show. These group of 9 people are ruining your show. You want to talk about fucking men, go fuck yourselves. You realize you can get your fucking ass beat by like fucking everybody in here right now.
Although I think fans would have preferred that compared to what happened not long after. A verbal tongue lashing would be better than being seriously injured by him. In 2012, while performing at Fest Evil, which was taking place at Six Flags Great Adventure, he made the incredibly strange decision to do something that many considered to be extremely dangerous. The results of him throwing mic stands into the crowd became clear very quickly. A 16-year-old girl was injured and immediately taken to hospital, and a man was treated by medics at the scene. And years later, Radke made it pretty clear how he felt about the whole situation.
Like, you'll have people that weren't even born when I threw a mic stand in the crowd.
That's insane.
Mad at me. You weren't even born, bro. The person that I hit with a mic stand is not even mad. So why are you mad?
Injuries weren't even the only result of his reckless decision. Following the wounds sustained by fans, Six Flags made the choice to ban any future hard rock and metal performances from taking place at the park. But shockingly, it wasn't even Ronnie Radke's biggest controversy of 2012, as sadly that was something even more serious. Early in the year, Mr. Radke found himself at the sharp end of some extremely shocking accusations. His then girlfriend Sally Watts alleged that she had been victim of domestic violence at the hands of the Falling in Reverse frontman. And due to his total lack of appearance at any court hearings related to the matter, he was arrested and hit with a number of charges.
The Los Angeles County District Attorney Office filed a criminal complaint alleging that Mr. Radke had committed misdemeanor assault, domestic violence, and false imprisonment. A female came to the Glendale Police Department out here in California and reported that her boyfriend, known as Ronnie Radke, had assaulted her and that she was in fear of him.
Due to his success with the band and the money it brought with it, he was able to get himself released on a $30,000 bail, leaving his ex-partner having to wait nearly 2 years for the culmination of this horrific ordeal. Interestingly, there are conflicting statements with regards to the result of the court hearing depending on who you ask, Ronnie or his ex. She stated, "2 years ago today, I rented a moving truck and left my abuser. Today, he finally appeared in court to plead no contest to domestic violence. The plea bargain means no jail time will be served, but it doesn't mean he's been found not guilty. He has waived rights to trial by jury. For the record, domestic battery is now officially on Ronnie Radke's criminal record. All things come full circle." Radke, however, disputes this, with him tweeting, "For the record, domestic violence charges were dropped today. Don't believe me? Look it up." And his representative also added, "There is some misinformation out there. Ronnie did have a court appearance today and the case has been resolved. The domestic violence charge was dismissed. Ronnie pled no contest to a misdemeanor charge of disturbing the peace." Looks like Miss Watts came with receipts though, providing social media with evidence of the official court documents that allegedly proved the only reason there was a reduced conviction for the domestic violence aspect was due to a plea bargain struck on Ronnie's behalf and no charges were ever dropped in this case. Fast forward a decade and very little has changed, because you would think that serious court cases are one of Radke's favourite pastimes. It turns out that although apparently Mr. Radke may be a bastion of full and free speech, many people have accused him of being a massive hypocrite in relation to his behaviour surrounding well-known internet music critic Anthony Fantano. When giving his opinions on Falling in Reverse's song Watch the World Burn, Anthony definitely didn't bite his tongue.
With the sharks! Listen to the bar! Go to the end of the stars! Go far! What the fuck? What the fuck is going on here? This song will be in my top 10 worst songs of the year video, okay?
Yeah, he certainly didn't mince his words, and it's fair to say Ronnie didn't take it too well, going after Fantano on social media stating, "He looks 25 years older than he is, and nobody will care about him in 3 years." It didn't stop there though, with the verbal sparring session getting taken to the next level when Anthony decided to drop a YouTube video in August 2023 simply titled, "This Guy Sucks."
We're talking about a very special man on the internet, quite possibly the biggest living piece of trash in the world of rock music right now. That's Mr. Ronnie Radke.
The video went on to detail a whole host of allegations levelled at the frontman over the years, and when combined with a showcase tweet that described Ronnie as the Bill Cosby of alt music, it was never going to go down with him, and in his eyes, enough was enough. After repeated refusals from Anthony to take the video down, Radke decided to go full nuclear, and almost a year to the day from when the content was uploaded, things got serious. A lawsuit was filed in Los Angeles County Superior Court, with Ronnie claiming the video exceeds the bounds of permissible commentary and ventures into actionable innuendo, unfounded rumours and outright falsehoods. Many have pointed out that similar lawsuits levelled at YouTubers by people such as Cardi B have resulted in huge payouts after they've been able to prove serious defamation. So I guess only time will tell as to whether or not the most outspoken man in music becomes one of its biggest hypocrites. Based on everything we've covered so far, it would be understandable to think that this would be the end of Ronnie Radke's biggest controversies. But sadly, the rabbit hole goes deeper as we come to his biggest enemy of all time, social media. A whole host of people are in agreement that Radke's relationship with the world of social media is definitely not a good one and has gotten him into some very hot water on more than one occasion. From insulting people because of their weight to belittling those in various minority groups, he appears to do himself no favours when it comes to his public image. Some have suggested that homophobia and transphobia don't even appear to be a step too far for Radke, with him being accused of these shameful acts on a variety of occasions when engaging with other people on social media. Sadly, things take an even darker turn, with Ronnie getting into verbal disputes with other Twitter users, even suggesting that they end their own lives when asking him to give credit for the use of their photos. And unfortunately, that's not the only instance of Radke getting in serious trouble with particularly difficult topics, as he also appeared to make the extremely questionable decision to mock the attempted life-ending decision made by Nick Matthews of Get Scared, with certain people pointing out what a disgusting thing this was to do, but also finding it not all that surprising. According to many, Ronnie Radke's history of violence is present for all to see, and threats of that very nature also appear to extend towards people that don't react positively towards his music, with him even taking to Twitter to promise beatings for those reviewing his music negatively. Former Falling in Reverse fans would likely attest to the fact that there are very few people more problematic in the modern music industry than Ronnie Radke. Some diehard supporters may well see his no fucks given attitude as something that sets him apart from other frontmen and often describe it as just part of his image. But it seems clear to many that he often appears to be a deeply troubled man, which has over the years led to some truly awful situations for those who were unfortunate enough to cross paths with him. And so the question remains, is the final fall of Ronnie Radke lying just over the horizon? It seems only time will tell.